This is 3 News Daily.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Daily on this Thursday, August 17th. I'm Stephanie Haney. Thank you for being with us for what matters most to you here in Northeast Ohio. And now we know that Cleveland will get help from the state to try to stop the rise in violent crime in the city. Yesterday, Governor Mike DeWine was in town to talk about the Surge Initiative. Now, that name refers to bringing a surge of law enforcement officers to Cleveland. This task force will focus on high crime areas like Cleveland's 4th District. The officers will work from the air and the ground and use resources like state police dogs.
Being able to put that helicopter up there is a great help to local police departments because it's just that back and forth between the eyes and the sky. And I was looking not only what I could see with my eyes, but the cameras that are on that helicopter are phenomenal.
Now, part of the plan also focuses on reaching young people in the city because there's been a rise in crimes being committed by people under the age of 18. This will all be paid for using state money from the American Rescue Plan Act. The Surge Initiative kicked off Tuesday, and so far 19 felony arrests have been made already through the program. Now, Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb released a statement on the program saying, "We are stronger when we are united. Thank you to Governor DeWine, these state agencies, as well as our local and federal partners who join us in doing everything we can to keep Clevelanders safe." Now, in other news about criminal charges, a Hudson teacher pleaded not guilty to charges of criminal trespassing and inducing panic today. This is tied to an alleged incident that happened on school property. Police arrested the teacher, 34-year-old Anthony Shupp, at his home. Now, we don't have a lot of details to share right now, but officials say no students or staff were harmed during this incident. Shupp's bond was set at $2,500, and he's been ordered to stay away from Hudson schools. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. And the great-grandson of former Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson has pleaded guilty to murder. 20-year-old Donald Jackson Gates pleaded guilty yesterday for the 2022 shooting death of Krishan Coleman. He originally faced several charges, including felonious assault and 2 counts of murder, but only pleaded guilty to 1. He'll be sentenced on Monday. And in Cleveland, an 18-year-old pleaded not guilty yesterday in connection to shooting a Cleveland police officer earlier this year. Jerion Church is accused of shooting at Detective Mark Barachek twice while the detective was chasing after a stolen Kia. Barachek has since been released from the hospital. Church's bond is set at $500,000. Now, here's a look at union workers at Cleveland Clinic Lutheran Hospital in Ohio City picketing outside the hospital yesterday. The group says they're being denied pay increases and health care benefits that other non-union employees get, and say they're being retaliated against because they're in the union. They've brought up the idea of a walkout. Now, the clinic told us they look forward to resuming negotiations with these workers on Friday and that care for patients will continue uninterrupted. All right, now we look ahead to the November 7th election, when a measure that would legalize recreational marijuana in Ohio will now officially be on the ballot. Secretary of State Frank LaRose informed us yesterday that supporters were able to get enough petition signatures in. This is after coming up a few hundred short earlier this summer. The measure seeks to legalize the sale, purchase, and possession of cannabis for Ohioans 21 and older. And if the issue passes, Ohio would then become the 24th state to legalize cannabis for adult use. All right, now the latest chapter to a saga we are going to hear a lot about over the next few years. The future of Cleveland Browns Stadium and talks between the team and the city over what's next. Yesterday, City Council approved more money to go toward repairs, which brought more questions from some council members. Neil Fisher reports.
Tonight, as a new stadium lease looms between the Browns and the city of Cleveland, millions of dollars are shoveled into the current stadium for upgrades.
The total amount is just under $3.5 million.
The 30-year lease between the city and the Browns includes a capital audit every 5 years, with the last audit taking place in 2018. City of Cleveland Capital Projects Director James DeRosa says repairs are needed to maintain the structure and preserve its usefulness.
One is emergency repairs as defined by the lease. There's two of those, which are pedestrian ramp replacements and gutter replacements. And then there's material capital repairs as defined by the lease, which basically means that it's a capital repair but not an emergency. And that would include one item, which is IT room air conditioning.
The city says the millions of dollars will come from the Stadium Repair Fund, which DeRosa says is funded by ticket sale taxes and surcharges. In the meantime, some city council members, including Ward 8's Mike Polensik, have some questions.
Do the Browns contribute anything toward that repair fund?
The Browns does not contribute to this list of repairs, but there's a whole laundry list of other things that the Browns funds without any contribution from the city.
These $1 million fixes aren't unusual. Let's take a look at some of the recent upgrades at Brown Stadium. In 2019, emergency repairs were made to fix the stadium's automation system, which controls the lights. Then in 2020, some of the pedestrian ramps as well as plumbing and roofing repairs were made. In 2021, repairs were made to the fire alarm system. And in 2022, money was spent on additional pedestrian ramps as well as gutter repairs. The city says the Browns are being practical when it comes to what needs to be fixed, but we may see more projects like this with 5 years left on the lease.
Thank you for that, Neil. You know, always an interesting question, who bears the responsibility for those kinds of things? And, you know, I'm sure Clevelanders have not forgotten about the Browns leaving the city not too long ago with issues tied to the stadium as well. Thanks for that report, Neil. All right, now before we go, check this out. Brunswick will soon have a brand new food hall and market. This is part of a development project that has been years in the making. In 2019, developer Nicholas Kyriazis bought about 9 acres of land off of Pearl Road with a vision to develop a market and build homes. So now a 26,000 square foot market will take up about half of that land as the new home to vendors selling produce and fresh foods, restaurants, a brewery, and an event space. This is a concept, he says, Brunswick hasn't seen yet.
See it as a focal point for whole Brunswick. I want to see people coming from Strongsville and Valley City and Hinckley and Medina. And I know people will come because of the concept.
Now, townhomes will be built on the other half of the land, along with a park that will have walking and biking trails, and that'll connect the homes to the market area. The hope is to open the market to the public in April or May, and it does really look like it's going to be a beautiful addition to Brunswick. So good on them for bringing something like that to that area. All right, thank you very much for being with us for today's edition of 3 News Daily. Have a beautiful Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with more top stories from Northeast Ohio.